Good evening and welcome inside Millett Hall. My name is Andrew Relvas for midweek Maction. Turning things on towards the men's side, it's the Miami RedHawks taking on the Toledo Rockets in a huge Mid-American Conference matchup here on Tuesday evening. A chilly evening in Oxford, Ohio, but the RedHawks once again trying to stay hot here at home for their second home game in a row. Thanks so much for tuning in to tonight's Red Hawk Radio presentation of Miami men's basketball. As a reminder, it's the RedHawks versus the Rockets. This is a crucial Mid-American Conference matchup that sees two teams in the top three. Miami, number 2 in the conference with a record of 9-10, and Toledo right below them, 8-2. This is a crucial matchup, a potential March matchup in the MAC tournament in Cleveland in about 3 weeks. So we are getting right to the home stretch. This one potentially a preview for things to come between two top teams in the Mid-American Conference. Appreciate you for tuning in to tonight and spending your Tuesday evening with us. First, we'll talk about the matchup, Miami versus Toledo. All time, Toledo leads the series 68-71. That number a little bit different than what we've seen recently. In the earlier matchups, Miami certainly dominated the series, but in the past 22 matchups, Toledo has beaten Miami. February 11th, 2012. That's a significant date because that was the last time the RedHawks beat Toledo. It has been a long time coming for Miami, and they're trying to break a 22-game losing streak against the Toledo Rockets here at home tonight. Trying to break the streak of over 14 years. Last matchup was, of course, in Toledo. It was on January 5th of 2024. In Toledo, a 64-68 loss versus the Rockets. So that's most of these matchups have been close in recent years, but of course they haven't been able to clear and seal the deal against this Toledo team. So we shall see if they can break the record. They can break the streak against a really tough Toledo team who have the lead in the all-time series. But big matchup here in Millett Hall, and we appreciate you for tuning in. Now let's turn things over on to the KenPom comparison. For Miami, first of all, they are ranked 158th in the Mid-American Conference, 3rd of 12 in the MAC with a .96 net rating. Their offensive rating is 108.9, which is 137th best in the nation. And their defensive rating that was in the 200s is now at 188th in the nation at 107.9 after a strong showing against the Troy Trojans a couple days ago. Sun Belt team coming up north. Meanwhile, for Toledo, they are number 200 in the nation, currently 5th of 12 in the Mid-American Conference with a net rating of -2.8. Their offensive rating is 112.80, which is 82nd in the nation. Really good offense, but their defense has been a lot to be desired. 115.6, which is the 331st defense in the nation. One of the worst defenses in the nation. There's about 360 teams in the country, and their defense is 331st worst. So the Rockets have a lot of work to do defensively, but their offense superb. 82nd inside the top 85. Really good numbers. And that's really been their kryptonite all season long. Turn things over to Miami. This is a team that has really found their stride recently after falling by nearly 30 to Akron about a couple weeks ago on the road. This team's on a 4-game winning streak. Overall record of 18-5, 9-1 in the MAC, which is 2nd of 12. And they are looking to extend their winning streak to 5 games tonight against the Toledo Rockets. Of course, this Miami team has made the MAC tournament back-to-back years, trying to make it 3 years in a row. And they are led by Travis Steele in his 3rd year at Miami, a record of 45-42. Looking to continue to build on this historic season. This is the potentially the first 19-win season in 21 years if the RedHawks can do it, all the way back in 2004 and 2005. So the RedHawks searching to grab win number 19 tonight and trying to continue their historic pace here at home. Their best season, of course, in 1983 to 84. Record of 24-6, which they made the NCAA tournament. Still can get that record, but it'll take a lot. Gotta win. They could probably match it, especially with tough road game remaining against OU, but a lot of work left to do there. 24-6 was their best record, with Ron Harper playing star player for the RedHawks all the way back then. But the RedHawks, a really good start, and they're trying to build on it here at home. Their last game they faced off in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge Round 2. They faced off against the Troy Trojans in game number 23 of the season, and that was a 69-62 victory against the Trojans, visiting from Alabama on Saturday. In that contest, 3 players for Miami were in double figures, 44% from the floor. They shot 35% from 3 and 64% from the free throw line. From deep, they shot 10 for 29 and 9 for 14 from the charity stripe. Evan Pissarro led the scoring with 15 points, along with an assist. Ian Elmer, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. He was doing it all, filling all the boxes. And Brent Byers put up 12 points and 5 rebounds, along with a block. Defensively, Miami limited the Trojans to 39% from the floor, 26% from deep, that's 6 for 23, and 12 for 18 from the free throw line. 2 Trojans as well were in double figures. And Troy, they did win the rebounding battle, but only by a slim margin, 36-35 in that one. If you're unfamiliar with Miami, this is a team that had a lot of returning talent from last year, namely Ian Elmer, Evan Pissarro, Makai Cooper, and Reese Potter. Those are the big 4, among other players. They did lose Marambo, Bryce Boltman, and Darwishi Hunter. Those were the big 3 players they lost, but they hit the transfer portal heavy, and they picked up Peter Suter, Cam Kraft, and Antoine Wolfolk, the big 3 that are really playing huge roles here for the RedHawks this year. That's the Miami RedHawks. Now we'll turn things over to the Toledo Rockets, who have been a real top team in the Mid-American Conference over the past 4 years. This Toledo team has won 4 straight MAC regular season titles, but once the calendars hit March, they haven't been able to get it past and clinch a spot into March Madness. It's been 4 really amazing years in Rockets country, but can't get it done when it matters most and try and get that bid. But this year, pretty good year under Todd Kowalczyk, a 15-8 record, 8-2 in the MAC, and on a 5-game winning streak. Of course, last year the team was 20-12, 14-4, first in the MAC, 4 straight regular season titles. But in round 1 of the conference tournament, they fell 59-76 in the upset of the year, really, for Toledo. And that Kent State team was a team they really dominated last year, but unfortunately couldn't get it done, and they could not shed their real ghosts in conference tournament time. Under Todd Kowalczyk in his 15th year, this team has 13 straight winning seasons. This has been a really special Toledo program, really turned them around, and he's made them a juggernaut in the Mid-American Conference. Toledo, however, hasn't made the haven't made the NCAA tournament since 1980, 45 years ago. So they are trying to shed their tournament struggles and looking to pick up a huge victory here on the road in Oxford, Ohio. Their last game most recently against the James Madison Dukes up in Savage Arena in Toledo on the north side of the state. A couple of days ago, it was a 72-69 victory over the Dukes. Really strong James Madison team that's right in the thick of the Sun Belt Conference. Really going to be a struggle to see who's going to get that final spot to clinch the NCAA tournament, but James Madison, a really strong team. Toledo defeating them by 3 points In that game for the Rockets, 3 players were in double figures. They shot 46% from the floor, 42% from deep, 5 for 12, and 64% from the free throw line, 9 for 14. The top 3 scorers, Sam Lewis, 22 points, 5 rebounds, along with 1 assist. Sam Lewis also, MAC Player of the Week, named yesterday. He's going to be a player to watch, certainly. Sonny Wilson put up 16, 5, and 3. And Isaiah Adams, the Buffalo transfer, 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. Defensively, Toledo limited James Madison to shooting 51% from the floor, 54% from deep, 13 three-pointers they secured. Usually you're not going to win a lot of those games if you give up 13 three-pointers, but Toledo narrowly edging them out, and 2 for 5 from the free throw line or the Rockets. Toledo did win the rebounding battle as well, 38-28. It's going to be a big storyline. Got to win the rebounding battle if you want to beat this Miami team. Returners for the Rockets, they are returning Javon Simmons, Sonny Wilson, Sam Lewis, and Bryce Ford. Those are the big 4 top contributors for the Rockets. They did lose 3 top scorers in Dante Maddox, who's a Xavier Musketeer this year. They lost Raheem Moss, the Oregon Ducks transfer, and Tyler Cochran, the Minnesota Golden Gophers transfer. So they lost 3 players to Power 5 teams. They did pick up Isaiah Adams, who's been a good contributor to this year. Buffalo Bulls transfer, and Seth Hubbard, Western Michigan transfer. So a couple of MAC guys they secured in the transfer portal, and they're looking to continue building on a real good season after a slow start in the MAC. That was the breakdown between the Rockets and the RedHawks. Now we'll turn things over to the top 25 scoreboard watch. Full slate of action here across the country. Starting off at the 7 o'clock games, you got 5 7 o'clock games. The first one, Auburn at Vanderbilt. Should be a fun one in Nashville. Of course, the #1 ranked Auburn Tigers falling over the weekend and trying to get win number 22 against Vanderbilt on the road. The next matchup, also another SEC, Florida at Mississippi State. The Florida Gators on the road in a hostile ground, trying to take down the Mississippi State Bulldogs, the number 22 team in the country. Florida, the number 3 team. Big matchup to watch in the SEC. Tennessee at Kentucky, that's another massive matchup. The number 5 ranked Tennessee Volunteers on the road in Lexington, facing off against the Kentucky Wildcats, the number 15 team in the nation. Should be a fun one at the Rupp. Turning it over to the Big Ten, Purdue at Michigan. Big matchup in Ann Arbor. 7 o'clock start. Purdue 19-5, Michigan 18-5. Should be a fun one up north. Turning it over to the Big 12, Iowa State at UCF in Orlando. The Cyclones trying to get win number 19 on the year, trying to take down a pretty solid UCF team. Should be a fun one to watch down south. Turning it over to the Big 12 once again, the 8 o'clock start. It's Arizona at Kansas State, the number 13 ranked Arizona Wildcats, trying to stay hot after kind of a slow start, trying to pick up win number 18. Going back to the Midwest, an 8:30 start in the Big East. It's DePaul at Marquette. Marquette Golden Eagles at home tonight, trying to get win number 19 against a DePaul team that's been struggling in the Big East, but much better season than they had last year. Back to the SEC, Alabama at Texas. That'll be in Austin. A 9 o'clock start in the Alabama Crimson Tide, number 2 in the nation right now, facing off against Texas. Should be a fun one to watch in the Lone Star State. Georgia at Texas A&M. In College Station, the number 8 ranked Texas A&M Aggies trying to get another big win over one of the surprises in the SEC and the Georgia Bulldogs. That game will tip off at 9 o'clock. Back to the Big Ten, Indiana at Michigan State. The number 11 ranked Michigan State Spartans trying to get win number 20. Trying to improve to 20-4 and looking to take advantage of an Indiana team that has really struggled and really disappointed a lot of people this season. That'll be a 9 o'clock start in East Lansing. Colorado at Kansas, another one to watch. The Colorado Buffalo is on the road in Lawrence, Kansas. The Kansas Jayhawks falling to the Kansas State Wildcats last weekend, and they're trying to avenge a tough rivalry loss. That one once again tipping off at 9 o'clock. And back to the Big East, UConn at Creighton. UConn trying to rebound after a big loss against St. John's. They're on the road at Omaha to face off against the Creighton Blue Jays. That'll once again be a 9 o'clock start. Creighton versus UConn, a big one in the Big East. Turning things back to the Mid-American Conference. Got a full slate of action here in the MAC. All these games, of course, starting off at 7 o'clock. The first one, Western Michigan at Akron. Big one, the RedHawks cheering for Western Michigan. Of course, Akron, they haven't lost in the MAC this year. A 10-0 conference record, and they're trying to stay hot like they have all year long. They have the longest winning streak in the nation right now at 11 games. And they're trying to force a big conference upset. Should be a fun one to watch there. Ohio at Bowling Green. Bowling Green trying to get win number 10 on the year, facing off against an OU team that's kind of been up and down recently, but securing a victory over the weekend against App State. That'll be a road contest for the Bobcats. Eastern Michigan, the Eagles, facing off against the Ball State Cardinals. Those two teams 11 and 12 respectfully. And those two teams are right near the bottom of the MAC, but they are right on the window trying to make the MAC tournament a 4-6 conference record. This is a crucial matchup for both these teams trying to secure their bid to Cleveland. Keep an eye on that one there. Kent State hosting Central Michigan. Of course, the Kent State Golden Flashes, the number 5 team in the MAC. They're trying to be the home team in Cleveland for the MAC tournament coming up. Facing off against Central Michigan, another team that's on the bubble trying to secure a spot in the MAC tournament this March. And then the last game, Buffalo at NIU. Those two teams, bottom feeders in the MAC. Buffalo number 11 in the MAC, and NIU number 12. Buffalo trying to get MAC win number 3, potentially be even with Bowling Green right there, but a lot of work to be done out at DeKalb, Illinois. That was the scoreboard. Watch a ton of big matchups all across the nation, and of course in the Mid-American Conference. This game, of course, is huge, especially for Miami. If they can take down Toledo, number 1, you end the losing streak of 22 games. Number 2, you keep pace with Akron. Just a big, big matchup for the RedHawks, and this is a game where they've got to be at their best, facing off against a talented Toledo Rocket team. Now bring you into the keys to the game for the RedHawks. Number 1, they have to start out hot. We've talked about it all game long, talked about it all season long too. The RedHawks, they've had games where they've had slow starts. We saw it against Troy as well, where they turned the ball over about 15 times in the first half. That has to be different if the RedHawks want to take advantage of these Toledo Rockets. This is a Toledo team that can really turn it on offensively. They're in the top 100 in offense at 82, according to KenPom. And of course, they are led by some really talented scorers, some really talented guards too, and Sony Wilson and Sam Lewis. Those two players, Sony Wilson especially an All-MAC preseason pick, and Sam Lewis a MAC Player of the Week selection last week. Those two players, you got to limit them defensively. And of course, led by Javon Simmons and Isaiah Adams. This is a really, I want to say, a really even Toledo team. This is a team that can turn it on when they need to. They've had a few dry spells here and there, but they are certainly competent offensively. So number 1, they got to start out hot offensively. They got to nail their three-pointers. We saw them struggle against Troy for portions of that game defensively. Have a few laps here and there, but got to start out hot, and I expect to see Cam Kraft and Peter Suter potentially get into transition quickly against this Toledo team. Number 2, you got to limit one of the guards, Sony Wilson or Sam Lewis. Likely going to be Sony Wilson, especially with Sam Lewis being the MAC Player of the Week last week, scoring about 40 points, 20 points in both of his games last week. So likely going to limit Sony Wilson. Got to potentially push on a Pete Suter who's been really special defensively, or maybe a Cam Kraft, one of those guards to kind of disrupt Sony Wilson or Sam Lewis. Got to keep those quiet. And number 3, the RedHawks, they got to win the rebounding battle. They lost the rebounding battle in the past 2 games, and they're facing off against a Toledo team that has a good amount of size, especially for a mid-major team. They won the rebounding battle against James Madison by 10. And the RedHawks, of course, they're going to have Reese Potter back tonight, so that'll certainly give them some more size to work with against a strong Toledo team. But we shall see what happens here in about 2.5 minutes. That was the Red Hawk Radio pregame show. My name is Andrew Relvas. I'll catch you at the half for a breakdown to see what went right and what went wrong for the RedHawks. And we shall see if the RedHawks are rolling here at home. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll turn it over to Luke and Bryan. As a reminder, this is Miami RedHawks men's basketball on Red Hawk Radio. My name is Andrew Relvas. I'll catch you at the half.
Two win streaks are put on the line tonight for the Miami RedHawks, winners of 4 in a row. They will try to stay on pace with the Akron Zips, who they currently sit 1 game behind in the Mid-American Conference standings. Their opponent, the mark of consistency in the MAC. The Toledo Rockets have won the last 4 regular season titles in this conference. And despite losing their top 3 scorers to the transfer portal this offseason, Todd Kowalczyk retooled, reloaded, brought back a couple of MAC all-freshman team selections from a season ago, and has his team sitting right on the heels of the RedHawks with 2 losses in conference play, looking to win their 23rd straight against Miami. Todd Kowalczyk's only lost 1 game against the RedHawks in his career at Toledo. It was the very first back 15 years ago in year 1. Alongside Bryan Miller, Lucas Poley with you. And Bryan, RedHawks with a win in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge in a game that doesn't mean a ton in hindsight, coming right in the middle of the MAC slate. And, you know, you're going to have to win the MAC tournament to get in if you're Miami. However, just felt good to keep things rolling and get another win in a tight game here at home.
And I think the biggest thing about that win against Troy, Luke, was the way that it happened. We've seen a lot of Miami games this year in the 70s and 80s and sometimes even 90s, but they got a 69-62 win over the Trojans of Troy last Saturday. Winning a game like that could really help you, especially as we get towards the end of the MAC season and into the MAC tournament.
2 teams that average in the high 70s and lower 80s in terms of scoring. We'll likely see a lot of points tonight. We'll take a break, and when we come back, have starting lineups and tip-off between Miami and Toledo on the other side. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. From a pretty crowded Millett Hall here on a Tuesday night, Miami and Toledo. Just a few minutes from tip-off. Luke West, Poley, and Bryan Miller with you as the RedHawks get set to take on the Rockets for the first time this season. First and only time these two teams will meet this year. Starting lineups for the Miami RedHawks, more the same for Travis Steele, Ian Elmer, Cam Kraft, Pete Suter, Makai Cooper, and Antoine Woolfolk are the starting five. Those five have started all but one game this season when Ian Elmer was a little bit banged up, was not in the lineup. Outside of that, it's been these five, I should say, the whole way. Antoine Woolfolk a little bit banged up in that last game against Troy with a back injury, much like the RedHawks' other big in Reese Potter. However, he is in the lineup. Potter is in the lineup as well and is good to go off the bench tonight. For Todd Kowalczyk and the Toledo Rockets, again, this team has won 4 MAC titles in a row in the regular season. They have never been picked in any of those years to win the title in preseason. And Kowalczyk will try to dig his team out of a 2-game hole right now behind another team that's been really dominant over the last few years in the MAC in Akron. And he will roll out a starting lineup that includes Javen Simmons, MAC Freshman of the Year from 23-24, Bryce Ford, Sonny Wilson, Isaiah Adams, and the defending MAC Player of the Week, Sam Lewis, round out the starting five for Toledo. And Todd Kowalczyk, 15th-year head coach. Mentioned already that the Rockets have won 22 meetings in a row, dating back to the second time Todd Kowalczyk played against these Miami RedHawks. And Bryan, a whopping 16 of those games have been decided by single digits over the course of this win streak. We've seen Miami get close a number of times, but couldn't get over the hump. That's been really a theme against a lot of opponents in years past for this RedHawks team. The good news is it's been very different this year, and we saw that on Saturday.
Yeah, it sure has. It just seems like a very unlucky streak for Miami. All those games decided by single digits. You mentioned 22 straight losses to Toledo. Last win coming 14 years to the day tomorrow. Really just seems like a program defining win if they're able to get it done tonight. When you talk about the direction of the Miami RedHawks basketball team, there's still some humps, some hurdles that you have to climb if you want to win championships, if you want to make the NCAA tournament. Getting a win over Toledo would certainly be one of them, and they have a great opportunity to do that tonight.
It's been well documented that the MAC has been run by the same pretty much 4-team group over the last decade or so, those being Toledo, Akron, Kent State, and Ohio. Miami has spent this year trying to prove they can be included in that group as well. They have picked up wins over Ohio and Kent State. Travis Steele hoping he'll get another shot at his brother in Akron in the MAC tournament, but a big chance here against Toledo tonight. Our referees this evening, Alfred Smith heading up the crew, Steve Vanacki and Jeff Asicki also on the team. Toledo in the road navy blue uniforms with yellow checker down the side, yellow Toledo on the front, and yellow numbers on the front and back. Miami in the home whites with red numbers on the front and back, in the script red Miami across the chest of the jersey. It is Antoine Woolfolk against Javen Simmons, 6'9" against 6'7" on the opening tip as the Millett Hall crowd comes to their feet. Ball up in the air, tipped back by Antoine Woolfolk, and after much anticipation, the RedHawks win the opening tip-off. Miami's offense second in the MAC behind only the league-leading Akron Zips, averaging 81.4 points per game. And it's Ian Elmer on the right wing controlling, feeds Cam Kraft into a three, and he knocks it down. Cam Kraft's second most threes made in the MAC this season, and he splashes one early on. It's 3-0 RedHawks, 27 seconds in.
Kraft sixth in the MAC and three-point percentage, just above 41%, getting it started there.
Drive down the left alley for Sonny Wilson. He missed it but got his own rebound and will clear it back outside. Sam Lewis, the defending MAC Player of the Week, sixth in the MAC in field goal percentage with a far side find to Bryce Ford. Back to the near wing with 7 to shoot. Wilson stuttering to the nail, kick out to the right wing. Lewis's three as well, long. And he airballs it in front of the Miami bench as Pete Suter grabs the weak side rebound.
It's an outstanding possession there for Miami defensively. Saw a lot of that against Troy, forcing them to use all of the shot clock and put up a bad shot.
High post entry feed for Woolfolk. Leans in on the left side block, but can't score it. And the rebound picked out by Sonny Wilson. Sophomore guard out of Pontiac, Michigan, an area that Toledo has recruited really well. Takes it up the floor. To the right elbow, he finds Simmons, who misses the jumper from there. And the rebound picked up by Makai Cooper. Miami sets the offense up top. Rockets are in man. Screen set up high on the left wing by Woolfolk. Suter races down the left side, pulls up from just underneath the free throw line, and he missed it too strong. Lewis catches the feed up the floor for the Rockets, trying to cross up on Cam Kraft. Spinning into the lane, fades away from 10 feet. Again, missed that well long, but a foul on the floor. On the backside will go against Miami's Antoine Woolfolk. Coming off a game in which he had just 2 points. He's been scoring more lately. The max leader in field goal percentage has been limited, though, at times due to some foul trouble, and picks up an early one there. Off the inbound on the left wing, Lewis works his way inside the three-point arc, and he swishes the mid-range jumper.
Just a very smooth stroke there from Sam Lewis, right in rhythm, gets Toledo on the board.
Sophomore out of Chicago, part of a trio of super talented sophomores for this Toledo team. He is the one that was not on the MAC All-Freshman team last year.
Yeah, really both these squads, flat outstanding sophomores for each of these teams.
And one of the sophomores, Makai Cooper, speeds down the left lane and lays it in with the left hand.
Good start there for Cooper. I didn't have a great game last game against Troy, just 2 points and 6 turnovers. Gotta get Cooper going, has to be very efficient here today.
17:32, to go in the first half as a shot is tossed up too strong by Adams, but the rebound picked up and put back in by Simmons. 5-4 our score in favor of Miami with 17:20 remaining in the first half. Ian Elmer looks to be laboring a little bit up and down the floor, kind of favoring his lower body. Meanwhile, it's Pete Suter with it on the near block. Stops his feet, kick out Kraft, near wing three. Rattles off the iron, but an offensive rebound for Antoine Woolfolk. Wide open three on the kick out to Suter, and he misfires. But an aggressive attempt at the rebound. Ian Elmer pulled the ball away from Bryce Ford, but he stepped on the baseline in the process. And it will be Rocket basketball. And we will now see Reese Potter enter the game for the first time in a couple of games. Potter out with a back injury that he suffered against Ohio, re-aggravated, I should say. It's been really a problem for him since the end of last season. He missed most of the offseason with it and missed a couple of games after shooting a three. He was holding his back in the first half of the Ohio game and did not return after being checked out. Officials are conversing here, and they're discussing, I believe, what the shot clock should be at here for Toledo. They are going to reset it up to 30, and the RedHawks will pick up a little bit of pressure here in three-quarters court. But a high ball lobbed over the top of Miami's press, beyond the reach of Makai Cooper, and that allows Adams to take it, shimmy all the way in, and miss it over top of the basket. And the RedHawks have the rebound. Pete Suter up the floor. Right-handed pass, Makai Cooper top of the key. Dribbling with his right arm, finds Kraft on the near side. Back up top, Cooper. Cooper crossover, finds Byers in the far corner pocket. Back up to the edge of the logo, it's Kraft crossing over, accelerating into the lane, fade away from the MAC logo, it goes! Cam Kraft with 2 early buckets, he's got 5, and with 16:20 to go in the first half, it's Miami 7 and Toledo 4.
We've really seen Kraft these past couple of games not afraid to drive it in, not as much of a three-point shooter the past few games volume-wise. A good take there for the Xavier transfer.
Give and go, and Simmons nearly threw the ball into the Miami bench, but luckily it's picked out by Wilson. Now a contested three tryout from the logo is off the mark from Bryce Ford and tipped out of bounds off of Miami as Reese Potter got the last touch on it, and that will send each team to their benches with 15:58 to go in the first half. Miami 7, Toledo 4 from a loud Millett Hall. We'll return after this. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. 4:02 gone by, first half. Miami 7, Toledo 4. Our score from Millett Hall on the campus of Miami University in Oxford. Luke West, Poley, Bryan, Miller with you. Inbound from the far side baseline for the Rockets after a dead ball rebound following a three-pointer miss by Bryce Ford. Two teams looking to extend some win streaks that have lasted a couple of weeks. Miami's 4, Toledo's 5, looking to move into a tie for second place. Inbound pass and return back to Wilson. He catches it and will step inside the right block and bank it off the window and in for 2.
That's a great play there. Got Hubbard on the corner for a 3, and a couple defenders towards him got the inbounder wide open.
Kraft with a heat check from the top of the key, and he buries it. 10-6 RedHawks, 15:35 to go in the first.
8 points now for Cam Kraft, 3 for 4 from the field. A really, really good start for him.
8 of Miami's 10. Makai Cooper with the only other bucket for the RedHawks. Lewis backs in, spins on Suter, tosses it up from the block. He got partially rejected as Suter tipped that to himself and picked it up as the RedHawks go up the floor. Evan Ipsaro coming off a great game on Saturday against Troy, in which he led the RedHawks in scoring. Running the guard spot for the RedHawks is Pete Suter. Tossed up a shot from the left wing that bounced up in the air, hit the shot clock and went in, so it will not count. And instead will serve as an out of bounds back to the Rockets.
Yeah, pass into Potter, had the defender guarding Suter just really sag off of him, made it a wide open 3. Typically don't see him that wide open. Not able to get it down though.
Javen Simmons pushes to the far side for Sonny Wilson, top of the key being pressured. And to the near wing, it's Hubbard. Sam Hubbard, the Western Michigan transfer, drives, floats it from the center of the paint, and that's off right. Rebound soared in for and secured by Brant Byers. Long feed ahead by Suter, a dime on the backside to Potter, who lays it in on the doorstep. And it's Miami by 6, 12-6 with 14.5 to go in the first.
Just a really good pass there from Pete Suter. Found Reese Potter with a step ahead of his defender, able to get it to him.
Lewis picks up his dribble, slings it to the near wing for Wilson. High post entry pass, Simmons, double teamed in the corner, and he threw it away into the arms of Evan Ipsaro for the RedHawks. Eyes up the floor, he finds Byers, open 3, cashed in from the right wing.
That's what the RedHawks do best, force a turnover on the defensive end, get in transition, make a wide open 3. Everyone forgot about Brant Byers' wide open 3 there, and the RedHawks are on a roll.
Todd Kowalczyk red in the face on the Rocket bench, not happy with how his team defended in transition. Toledo down 9, 3 from the left wing meanwhile, missed by Hubbard, rebound tapped out near half court. Hubbard's back on it with the right paw. Off a screen, speeds by Kraft, gets to the lane and put it off the heel. Pete Suter's got the rebound for the RedHawks. Suter racing ahead, scoop out Byers, slashing into the lane, back outside. Potter fakes the 3 and will pull it back down. Byers into the post for Potter, and he gets fouled. And fist bumps by the Miami coaching staff on the bench. The RedHawks have Toledo on their heels a bit here. 13:22 to go in the first half. Miami leads it by 9. And an inbound from the first letter in Miami on the far side baseline for Evan Ipsaro, it appears.
Miami just continuing the really good defense, forcing turnovers. They're able to get a mismatch with Reese Potter on Sam Lewis, 6'6". Against Reese Potter, 7'1". Just going to be a mismatch every time. Looks like Toledo's going to bring in some size to fight that off.
Rockets brought up 2 subs. Simmons and Lewis out. Isaiah Adams and Gerger Burchick are in for Toledo. Inbound to the far corner, it's Luke Skaljak, Mac's top 3-point shooter by percentage. Hands off instead for Potter, who gets fouled again, this time on the drive. Foul will go against Burchick, the sophomore from Croatia. And the RedHawks will inbound again. Ipsaro out top Byers, thought about the 3, keeps the ball next to his hip.
Oh, they had Ian Elmer wide open on the inbound pass. I don't think they saw him.
They did not. Now it's Potter outside the left lane, bumps, fades, and punched it off the bottom of the rim. Rebound picked up by Andre Lorenzen, the Swede for Toledo. Up ahead to the far corner, Seth Hubbard. Post entry, Burchick throws it over Potter, but it flies in and out. Drops partway down, but wouldn't go. And the RedHawks get it back, but a miscommunication between Byers and Ipsaro as Ipsaro started to make his way towards the bucket, and Byers threw it behind him out of bounds. And so it is Toledo ball once again. That was the first turnover on the RedHawks. Both of these teams have played really clean in that department. Just one turnover aside with 12:36 to go in the first half. 15-6 Miami. And a left-handed shot for the mid-range is pure for Isaiah Adams. Averages 10 a game, had 11 in the win over James Madison for Toledo. And the Rockets are within 7. Woolfolk back on the floor, hands to Ipsaro, his three, yes sir! Evan Ipsaro starting to find that scoring touch coming off the 15-pointer against Troy, and he's got his first 3 points of the night off the assist from Antoine Woolfolk.
Yeah, we talk about Ipsaro's versatility, and you mentioned, Luke, he's starting to get in the scoring department as well. 2 for 3 from three-point land last game, gets a big one there. 3
from the left wing by Adams is Nyland. And it's back down to a 7-point lead for the RedHawks, 18-11 with 11:48 to go in the half. Just underneath the key, it is Woolfolk handing off Ipsaro behind the back on the dribble. Scoots it back out top, 10 to shoot. Flies it into the post for Woolfolk. Double comes, tried to kick it out, and it was intercepted off a leap by Hubbard. He'll take it into the front court from right to left. Feeds Adams on the near wing. Left-handed dribble, fakes the handoff. Skaljack pulls it away, and Ipsaro grabs it in the open floor for the RedHawks.
Really good play by Skaljack there. Is able to do that a couple times against Troy, really finding his footing offensive or defensively.
Skaljack will now try a 3 for the left wing, and he can't hit it. Burchick's got the rebound for the Rockets. Down the right wing goes Sonny Wilson, Detroit Jesuit High School grad. Quick ball movement around to the near side. Adams missed an easy one underneath. Ball gets punched out. Now a 2-on-2 up the floor for the RedHawks. Near side, Byers a 3. He's got it. The RedHawks just whip the ball around the floor, and Brant Byers makes it a 10-point game with his second triple. It's 21-11 Miami with 10:38 to go in the first.
This is a really good pass from Ipsaro there, and Byers ready to shoot immediately. 2 for 2 on 3-point attempts today.
RedHawks, 3 of their last 4 from deep. 9 to shoot. Lawrenson outside. Short pass, Adams. 5 left to go. Step back 3. Not even close. Punch back up in the air to him. And now driven away. RedHawks run the floor. Ipsaro missed the transition layup, but Elmer cleans up the miss on the rebound. And a timeout is called by Todd Kowalczyk in Toledo. And that will send us to a timeout on the floor. Things have started to pick up. High pace inside Millett Hall, and it's a RedHawk dozen-point lead with 10-12 left to go in the first. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. With 10-12 left to go in the first half, it's Miami 23 and Toledo 11. Both these teams rank in the top 10 in the entire nation in Ken Palm's luck rating. The Rockets are second in the country. Shots not falling, though, for UT right now. They're 5 of 19 from the floor. Rebounding and turnover margins both even as well, and that's a big reason why the RedHawks lead it by 12. 10:06 left to go, and from right to left goes Isaiah Adams into the front court with Makai Cooper prying away at him, and Cooper will be called for a foul. And he'll get his first, second team foul on the RedHawks.
Yeah, a pretty clean game foul-wise so far, just two fouls
really,
aside.
A lot of the things that frustrate coaches, I think, in terms of fouling, turnovers, and getting beat on the glass have been a non-issue for both teams so far. From the top of the key, a deep three by Sam Lewis, and he bangs it. Sam Lewis coming off a 22-point game against James Madison. He's got 5 so far in this one, and that gets it back down to single digits. 23-14 Miami. 9.5 left to go first half. Suter on the drive, gets fouled as he crosses the three-point arc.
There's another good drive there from Suter. And on the other side, was it definitely a deep three from Sam Lewis, but he's very capable of hitting that shot. 46% from three, second in the MAC.
So back up top off the inbound, it's Ian Elmer off a screen set by Woolfolk. Races to the baseline, pull-up jumper from 15 feet. Drops long. Elmer went crashing down, but pops back up and applies a little bit of pressure on Bryce Ford as he brings it up the floor. Across the timeline, Ford tried to throw it into the post, and Suter deflected it away. Gets his own steal. Lead pass, Kraft, left wing three. Bullseye! Cam Kraft on fire to begin the night. He's got 11 off 3 for 4 shooting from deep, and Miami leads it by 12 again with under 9 minutes to go in the first.
Suter able to get started with the steal, able to find Kraft, who just nails it.
26-14, the Red Hawk advantage. Rockets could use some life. Ford looking to provide with a left wing triple, and that's bricked off the back iron. And the rebound picked up by Antoine Woolfolk of the RedHawks.
Rockets just struggling right now from the field, under 30%.
Kraft tripped and fell as he was driving, and he's called for the travel. See if Kraft's okay. It looks like he's just fine, but that was a slip and slide looking fall from Cam Kraft on the drive. Both his feet just flew out from under him.
Yeah.
Looked and sounded like a pretty hard fall, but Kraft got right back up, and it'll be Toledo ball.
Yeah, just slipped while he was driving. Very reminiscent of the Cooper Flag drive against Clemson a few days ago.
First time I've seen Kraft do that this year. Coop, as you might know, Bryan, has done that twice this season.
Oh, I know the first one. Know it well.
Hand off to Lewis at the top of the key for Toledo. He'll back it out. Skips a pass on the left side for Seth Hubbard. Forced back out near midcourt. Lofted to Simmons. Back up top. Lewis drives down the right lane. Weaves through traffic and has an easy layup from the right side of the paint.
Yeah, just an easy drive there for Lewis. C really parted in front of him. Easy land.
10-point Toledo lead. And again, the Rockets are called for a foul away from the ball there as Suter and Elmer were working on a handoff. And Hubbard will get called for the reach-in. That's Toledo's 4th as a team, Hubbard's first. And that'll bring us to a timeout. 26-16, RedHawks keeping Toledo at arm's length with 7:56 to go in the first half. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. 7:56 remaining first half. It's Miami 26, Toledo 16. As Pete Suter inbounds on the far side in front of the Toledo bench. RedHawks back in working on the offensive end, led by as many as 12. Pass to the inside, and Elmer leaned in for some contact, but threw it way over the basket. And we play on as the Rockets get the rebound, and Bryce Ford will bang his way inside the three-point arc and work his way back outside. Now post entry flip to Simmons. He's doubled. Simmons tries to go baseline, and his pass got batted down, and Potter did well to keep it from going out of bounds. Kraft now a right wing transition three, and he drills it. Cam Kraft barking as he heads back down the floor. He is on fire tonight. 4 triples for Cam, and it's a 13-point Miami lead with 7:15 to go in the half.
That was just a simple catch and shoot there. Kraft just red hot right now.
And a foul on the inside. Looks like they'll get Potter working in the post against Seth Hubbard. Or excuse me, rather Lewis, who he was matched up against. Third team foul on Miami, and Potter's first. Inbound from the near side of the baseline for the Rockets. Lobbed out to the exterior for Simmons. Hands off for Wilson, driving down the right side of the paint. Flips one up, and it misses off the left side of the rim. Ian Elmer clears out for the rebound for the RedHawks. Kraft, straightaway three. Oh, yeah! Unreal. Cam Kraft, red hot, white hot. It's a 16-point Miami lead with 6:44 to go in the half.
The onions on this kid, are you kidding me? 5 for 6 from 3 now, on fire.
17 points for Cam in the first half. Mid-range jumper falls short off the front rim for Lewis, and the RedHawks have the rebound. Suter pushing, finds Elmer, fakes the three, heads inside, dunks it with one hand, plus the foul.
Oh my God. That is unreal.
Elmer almost took the basket down, plus one. And Millett Hall gets the roof blown off as Elmer goes to the free throw line. Whoa. He misses the free throw, but a fight for the rebound. Pete Suter dives into the Toledo bench to try and bat it back in, but he stepped out of bounds. Goodness gracious.
So Kraft was running on top. He was trying to go around
like
Suter,
and
they had
Kraft
they had a couple guys going right
again
at him, and then that just opens the lane for Elmer to slam it home. Wow.
Pete's got to go get patched up on the Miami bench. I think he got a little bit of blood on his knee diving into the bench. Todd Kowalczyk, very stoic on the Toledo bench, has just had his arms crossed over this latest sequence. It is an 18-point first half lead for Miami. So they've exploded out to an 11-2 run. 6:08 left to go in the half, and desperation time for the Rockets, needing at least an answer type of run before the break. Ford races in and gets fouled by Potter, who is guarding him on the outside. That was a mismatch, and Potter will pick up his second foul. And with Antoine Woolfolk, who we mentioned had some of those lingering back issues in the Troy game and has had a back brace on when he's been on the bench, is now forced back into the game as Potter will come off. So Wilson will bring it to the far side in front of Travis Steele on the Miami bench. Back out center circle, it's Ford, steps into a three, and he drills it.
A good job by Ford there. Gets first points of today's game, able to just step right into a three.
44% from deep, and a much needed one for the Rockets. Meanwhile, Woolfolk gets lost underneath and dunks it. There was not a player inside the arc for the Rockets, and Woolfolk had 15 feet of room to dunk that with two hands.
Well, when you shoot 8 for 12 from 3, I mean, they got to be so concerned coming out. Just really opens up the paint. An easy slam for Woolfolk.
Owinga hands off, and an offensive foul call as he gave to Lewis a moving screen against Owinga. Toledo gets their 6th foul as a team as Owinga gets his 2nd. And the freshman out of Grand Rapids, talented freshman out of the state of Michigan, will head off 36-19 Miami lead with 5:12 to go in the half. Evan Ipsaro takes it from left to right across the timeline, dribbling with the left hand. Gets a return handoff from Kraft. In front of the Toledo coaches box, races inside. Ipsaro speeds on by, can't lay it in. Tap back by Kraft, doesn't go. He wants a foul, doesn't get it. And the Rockets will race it up the floor. Seth Hubbard, though, forced to slow down. Now a hop step into the lane for Adams, and he tosses it long on a 10-foot shot. Kind of a line driver that scraped over the rim. RedHawks have the rebound. Kraft, another three try, and he missed one finally off the left side of the rim and out of bounds. And it's Toledo basketball with 4:39 remaining in the half, trailing by 17.
Toledo didn't give him a ton of room on that screen for Kraft, but they gave him enough for him to get an open look. Very lucky for Toledo that did not go in.
So the Rockets will head up the floor. It is Adams stepping right. Now off a screen left. Lob into the post for Burchick. Back outside. Hubbard, or rather Lewis, stepping in. Now back into a long two. Too strong, and Luke Skaljak, fresh onto the floor, has the rebound for Miami. To the near side, Byers. Pump fakes a three. Pulls back down. Byers has it back now. Left side, he'll trigger. Won't hit. Long rebound out, and Evan Ipsaro plucks it away from Sam Lewis and gathers back up for the RedHawks. Second chance on this possession. Suter between the legs on the dribble. Bullet pass to the far side. Left-handed three for Luke Skaljak. Rattles off the iron. Two hands on the offensive rebound for Antoine Woolfolk, but he can't secure it. Wilson, full head of steam, into the paint. Stops, tosses it up, and got it. Plus the foul as he gets the bounce in. And a chance at the free throw line for Sonny Wilson, who's Miami's done a pretty good job quieting so far. He averages nearly 16 a game. That was just his 4th points of the first half. And he'll have a chance for 5 at the free throw line, trying to stifle this Miami run a little bit. Still a comfortable Red Hawk lead. It's 36-21 MU with 3:49 to go in the half. You're listening to Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. (36-21), the RedHawks in front of the Toledo Rockets. Cam Kraft white hot from 3, 5 for 7 from deep in this first half. And after a string of Kraft threes, Ian Elmer electrified Millett Hall with a posterizing dunk. Toledo, though, has done well to limit Miami and hold them scoreless over the last minute 44. And then an and one right before the timeout for Sonny Wilson has him at the free throw line. And the 66% free throw shooter nails it. 94 attempts on the year, is top 10 in the MAC. But hits the free throw. RedHawks nearly get caught with an over and back, but Suter up ahead for Woolfolk. Near side, Ipsaro's three, online. RedHawks almost got caught for an over and back there, and instead they punished Toledo with another three. That is the RedHawks' 9th make on 16 tries from three-point land in the half. And it's a 17-point Miami advantage with 3:20 to go.
Yeah, I thought they were going to call it on Suter there, but sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. Ipsara wide open for a three and able to get it down.
Adams bullies in, fades away on the edge of the paint and skips it home. Couple rattles off the rim, and Isaiah Adams, one of 2 in-conference transfers on this team. He's from Buffalo, adds the basket. Suter was trying to slip through a pass to Woolfolk on the cut, but it is stolen away as Wilson makes his way all the way inside and rises up to get fouled from the left side block. He will go to the free throw line for 2 shots as Suter gets his first 16 foul on Miami. Both teams at 6 now with 2:51 remaining in the first half. 39-24, the Miami lead.
We've seen a couple really strong takes from Sonny Wilson recently, going just coast to coast and either get the bucket or at the very least get to the free throw line.
That free throw pops out for Sonny Wilson. Reese Potter back onto the floor for Miami with the 2 fouls. He's the only Red Hawk who's picked up a second so far. Had to take some time on the bench. Antoine Woolfolk off for Miami. Javen Simmons had to tuck his jersey back in, so we get a pause before the second free throw. Crowd making plenty of noise here. A very good weeknight crowd at Millett Hall, and they are letting Sonny Wilson hear it. And he does go 1 of 2, nailing the second free throw. 39-25, Miami, 2:47 to go, first half. A little bit of pressure picked up, 3 quarters, and the RedHawks get it across. Rockets match up defensively. From the right elbow, it's Potter circling around and handing at the key for Ipsara. Around a screen, 11 to shoot, races down the left lane, passes it back outside for Byers. Overhead to Suter, far corner of the logo. Back near side, Skaljak driving, kicking. Ipsara deep 3. Got it at the buzzer of the shot clock. Evan Ipsara adds another tray for the RedHawks. Meanwhile, all the way back in, though, Sonny Wilson just went the full length of the floor without getting touched to lay it in and send the crowd back to their seats. 42-27, Miami in front. 2 minutes to go in the half as Suter leans in and can't score. Rebound poked out of bounds and into the Rocket radio booth. It'll be Toledo basketball with 1:57 to go in the half. Cam Kraft back on to replace Luke Skaljak. And Bryan, as great as this first half has been for Miami, they've had the wind taken out of their sails a little bit by some of their biggest momentum-shifting plays being instantly responded by baskets on the other side.
Yeah, definitely have to get back on defense. I know it's very tempting to, celebrate and do all of that for a second, but you do it a second too long, Toledo's able to capitalize.
Simmons tried the poster dunk, and he got it punched out on the way up. Nothing going right for the Rockets in this half, it seems.
They just had so many looks inside that haven't gone in.
Cam Kraft hits another 3, and Cam Kraft will get a technical foul on his way back down the floor. As Kraft buries his 6th 3 of the half. It's a 20-point half for Cam Kraft, and now Travis Steele is furious. And so that will send Isaiah Adams to the free throw line. He's a very good free throw shooter at 89%. And he's got no problem on the first one. Travis Steele is really not happy with the call against Cam Kraft on the technical foul. But again, just a really unfortunate break for the RedHawks as Adam leaves the second free throw short. Just feels like something not so great happens for Miami right after a really big momentum shifting type of play. And Cam Kraft is a veteran player. Understand he wants to celebrate, but that's a tough one in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, not sure what was said, obviously. Not sure if it warrants a technical, but yeah, just as you mentioned, Luke, right as Miami gets a huge 3, either not getting back on defense or technical that time, able to allow Toledo to get a free possession.
RedHawks were swarming on defense at the edge of the paint, and Bryce Ford drew the reach-in foul against Ian Elmer, who will pick up his first foul, and that will send Bryce Ford, a 92% career free throw shooter. He's got the best percentage of any MAC player in conference play this season to the free throw line. 45-28, Miami leads it with 1:13 to go in the first half. RedHawks are 61%, 11 for 18 from three, and the front end of the 1-and-1 hit by Ford. Sophomore from Scottsdale, Arizona, awaits the second free throw. Miami shot just one free throw in the first half, haven't needed it. Toledo has now shot 7, and Bryce Ford makes the second one. Pete Suter back onto the floor to replace Brant Byers. 1:13 left in the half. RedHawks lead it by 15. So Miami can take their time here to ensure they get 2 possessions, and Toledo only gets 1. Ipsaro has it down the left wing. He'll just dribble back and forth and lock eyes behind him with his head coach as we move under a minute to play in the half. Ipsaro finds Elmer, waits, now heads inside, back into the top of the key, throws it into the post for Woolfolk, dishing back outside around the arc. Elmer, a left wing three, missed long, and the rebound hauled in by Isaiah Adams. Rockets pushing up the floor, crossover dribble for Wilson, slashing across at the nail. Gets the return feed on the near side. 33 seconds left in the first half. Wilson moves in from the second hash. Thought about the fade. Instead, will flip to the near wing for Adams. 12 left to shoot. Adams bumping on Kraft. Had it deflected away. Regathers. Finds Simmons. Down the center of the paint. He missed the finger roll with the right hand. And Ian Elmer's got the rebound. Pete Suter leaves it off for Evan Ipsaro. Miami's got the use it or lose it timeout. Does not look like Travis Steele will take it. 8 seconds to go. Ipsaro off a screen on the logo. Down the left side. Finds Kraft. NBA 3. Off the front rim. Offensive board. Elmer. Wild fadeaway shot at the buzzer. Ends up well short. And the first half comes to an end. But the fans rise to their feet and give a much-deserved ovation to the Miami RedHawks as they head into the tunnel to our right. The RedHawks dominate the opening 20. They splash 11 threes on 20 attempts. And Miami's in front 45-30 at the half here from Millett Hall. Well, Bryan, this team can shoot threes with the best of them. That's certainly no secret, but anytime you hit them at a clip this high, this consistently, something is going wrong in the other end. And for a Toledo team that struggled to defend and specifically defend the three-point line all year long, this has been a really ugly first half of defensive basketball.
Yeah, Toledo coming into tonight's game 8th in the MAC in three-point defense has really given the RedHawks a lot of opportunities to capitalize from three-point land. And Luke, when you're hitting threes at this clip, it really opens things up on the inside as well. We saw that dunk from Woolfolk, absolutely nobody around him. That happens because everyone's so concerned and they move up towards the three-point line, just opens up the paint.
So Miami leads at 45-30. Cam Kraft by a long shot leads all scorers with 20 first half points. And he vaulted the RedHawks to a sizable lead, head by 15 at the break. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Andrew Relvas says your Red Hawk Radio halftime. Look around some scoreboards, stats and analysis from the first half, and a preview of the second coming up after the break on the Red Hawk Radio halftime report. Again, Miami leads at 45-30 after 20 minutes from Oxford, and you're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio.
Welcome inside the Red Hawk Radio halftime show. My name is Andrew Relvas. What a first half. What a fun first 20 minutes for Miami. Just a red start, hot streak for the red hot RedHawks. They lead 45-30 after 20. And this was an exciting one from start to finish in the opening frame. Leading scorer for Miami, of course, Cam Kraft, 20 points, 6 for 9 from deep, 7 for 11 from the floor. And he was red hot from start to finish in this period. The number 2 scorer, Evan Ipsaro, 9 points, 3 for 5 from the floor. And he's made all 3 three-pointers that he's attempted, 3 for 3 pair of rebounds as well for him. 4 assists and 1 steal, doing it well. And right behind him, Brant Byer, 6 points, 2 for 3 from the floor, both of them 3-pointers. It's really been the Cam Kraft show. It's really lit up this Millett Hall. 20 points, just a really, really good start for him, drilling in 6 3-pointers. Overall, as a team, Miami shooting 49% from the floor, 55% from deep, 11 3-pointers, 11 for 20 in that James Madison game for Toledo. They gave up 13 3-pointers all game long, and Miami pretty much has done that all in one half. So 11 for 20 from deep. They've really hit their clip, and only 0 for 1 from the free throw line. That was Ian Elmer on the dunk. Just a really exciting first half for Miami, and they're hoping to keep this momentum rolling inside Millett Hall in about 10 minutes. For Toledo, this was kind of a hot and cold offensive first half, shooting 34% from the floor, 38% from deep. That's the hot, and 71% from the free throw line. 3 for 8 from deep and 5 for 7 from the free throw line. But, I mean, Miami has really matched up Toledo defensively well. They've really kept a lot of players in check, especially Sam Lewis, 3 for 8 from the floor. You got another guy in Bryce Ford, who's only put up 3 shots. Stoney Wilson, 3 for 5. And Isaiah Adams, 3 for 8. So really limiting this top 4 well. They've really matched up phenomenal against this Toledo team that is one of the top scorers in the MAC. They've always been a top offense in the MAC. And keeping them to 34% is certainly the step in the right direction for sure. Leading scorer, it's Isaiah Adams with 8 points and 2 rebounds. Right behind him, Sam Lewis with 7 points. MAC Player of the Week last week. Stoney Wilson, 7 points for him and 2 rebounds. And Bryce Ford, 6 points and 2 rebounds. So keeping basically the top 4 under about 25, 26. That's certainly going to be a winning recipe. That the RedHawks have played well defensively. They've played even better offensively. They lead by 15 at the half. What a first half for the RedHawks. And, I mean, everything was going right for this Miami team. Minus a few lapses here and there, but that's going to happen from time to time for sure. Turn things over to a scoreboard update. Look across some of the games going on right now. At the half, it's Auburn 34, Vanderbilt 32. The Auburn Tigers ahead by a hair in Nashville against the Vanderbilt Commodores. That should be an entertaining one to finish in the SEC. Going down south, Florida at Mississippi State. The Florida Gators leading by 3, 27-24 on the road in Starksburg. Game now tied 27-27. Starkville. Mississippi State Bulldogs trying to get a big upset over the Gators. About 3 minutes left to go in the first half. Tennessee, at Kentucky. The Kentucky Wildcats at home in Lexington leading 35-24. About a minute left to go in the opening frame. Purdue at Michigan. The Purdue Boilermakers leading by 2 over Michigan. Michigan Wolverines pretty much even with about 10 seconds left to go in the first. And one more game at the half. Iowa State 32, UCF 30. So a couple of teams on upset alert here in about the second week of February. So a lot of moving parts here. We'll see which way teams go, but that is the top 25 scoreboard. Now let's shift things over to the Mid-American Conference, where once again we've got a full slate of action. The first one, big one for Miami. They're cheering for Western Michigan. The Akron Zips at home leading 52-42 at the Jar. The Zips ahead by 10 and trying to get MAC win number 11 on the way. That's at the half. Ohio at Bowling Green. Bowling Green Falcons leading by 2 over OU. Talked about this earlier, but the Ohio Bobcats are kind of up and down this season. They've had some injuries here and there with Clayton and Hadaway. Only leading by 2 against the Bowling Green Falcons, who Miami saw a couple weeks ago. That one as well in Bowling Green. Eastern Michigan trailing Ball State at the half, 33-40 in Muncie. The Cardinals ahead by a good amount, and they're trying to get another MAC win and go to 500 against Eastern Michigan. Central Michigan at Kent State trailing by 15. This is kind of a similar game here. The RedHawks and the Golden Flashes both ahead by 15 at the break. This Kent State offense certainly capable. They have a lot of big scores. Ahead by 15, a good sign for sure for Kent State. And then the last one, Buffalo ahead by 11 in DeKalb, Illinois, 32-21. The Buffalo Bulls leading the NIU Huskies out in Illinois. That is the scoreboard look. A lot of fun games going on tonight across our nation. And of course, a lot of fun matchups happening in the Mid-American Conference. Well, we've got about 6 minutes left to go in this one. I'll keep it here and bring it here for the home stretch. The RedHawks set to get back to work in a couple minutes against Toledo. What went right for Miami? Well, to put it simply, it was the three-pointers. Unbelievable stretch and unbelievable shots from deep for the RedHawks. 11 for 20 once again. I mean, pretty much everything Miami put up, they were going in from deep, and they weren't fringe three-pointers. Those were a lot of deep ones. We saw a couple from Ipsaro falling that were well beyond the red line of the three-point arc. We saw, of course, Cam Kraft really turn it on. Little catch-and-shoot money action for him. And can't forget Brant Byers, who's made a couple of three-pointers. So that really, it's been the three-pointers that's been working to perfection for Miami. Talked about it in the pregame. You need to start out hot against the Toledo team that is well coached under Todd Kowalczyk. He's been here for a long time. But the fact that the RedHawks really got going right out of the gate, that's an awesome sign for sure if you're a Miami fan. And number two, it's the defense. I mean, Miami only 34% defensive field goal percentage against Toledo. That's a really good sign for sure, especially with Toledo having 4 players who average double figures or more, keeping that top unit quiet. Leading scorer, of course, Isaiah Adams, but he's not the number one. Isaiah Adams is the number 4 in terms of average and scoring. So the fact that you have him as your leading scorer, that's another really good sign. The RedHawks have certainly matched up well defensively. Forcing 5 turnovers. It's not like games of past where we've seen the RedHawks force like 15 turnovers, but 5 turnovers, that's a good amount, and they've really limited them on the floor. Well, keys to the game, part 2. How can the RedHawks keep the momentum rolling here in Millett Hall? Keep Millett rocking. Number 1, RedHawks need to, first of all, focus on the defense. In one way that you can really let a team like Toledo back in this game, it's the free throws. They need to be careful with the fouling. Miami 8 personal fouls to Toledo 6. The good thing about the fouls, though, is Reese Potter only has 2 fouls. He's the top player with the most fouls on Miami. The rest, 6 players have 1 foul each. Ones that don't, Brant Byers and Luke Skowjak. Fortunate for Byers, too. He's another one of those guys that can really play 1 through 5. Talked about Travis Stewie's mentioned that Byers, really the Swiss Army knife of the team, and it's good that he doesn't have a foul. But number 1, you got to limit the fouls if you're Miami. You can't let this team get back into a groove at the free throw line. 5 points from free throws could be worse, but have to limit these free throws if you're the RedHawks. The number 2, Miami, they have to take a lot better care of the ball. Only 4 turnovers, but they've got to keep that kind of care and mindset of this going into the second half. The RedHawks, they can't turn the ball over too much. I mean, that's a way to let a team like Toledo back in this game is the turnovers. Fouls and turnovers, the RedHawks got to be understanding of that, and they certainly have done well in the first 20 minutes. And number 3, the RedHawks, they just need to keep what they've been doing. 20 points from Cam Kraft. I expect the Rockets to kind of attack him defensively more. That gives more more of an opportunity for players like Evan Ipsaro, Peter Suter, Antoine Woolfolk, more of them to potentially get into a groove offensively. So we'll see if the Rockets defensively kind of adjust and put more of an emphasis on Cam Kraft. And it'll be up to the other RedHawks to try and respond and try and get things going. But once again, this will be a full 40-minute effort. The RedHawks did a great job in the first 20, and they're going to have to finish even better if they want to win this one here at home. A 15-point lead for the RedHawks. Miami hoping that they can keep things up here in a packed and raucous Millett Hall. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Red Hawk Radio halftime show. I'll catch you at the post game to see if Miami can pull off a huge victory over a top Toledo team in the MAC. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's see if the Red Hawks can break the 22-game losing streak. With that, we will hand it over to Luke and Bryan for the play in about 2 minutes. Thanks so much. I'll catch you at the post game in a little bit.
All right, Andrew, thank you. Coming out of our first half break, it is Miami 45 and Toledo 30. And the RedHawks hit 11 threes on 20 attempts in the first half, with 6 of them coming from Cam Kraft, who had 20 points in the first 20 minutes. Toledo on the other side struggled, started to pick things up offensively a little bit as that half concluded, as they were under 30% for the majority of that half and ticked up above 30 near the end. But Bryan, for a Red Hawk team that is looking to win their first game against the Rockets in 23 tries, this team has struggled at points in situations like this to really go for the kill and put a team away this season. It's going to be a big first 4 minutes before that under 16 media timeout to see if Miami will either stretch this lead or if they will have to endure a run on the other side for the Rockets here on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. You would have to think Toledo has to start off this second half very strongly. It has to have a very strong effort in these first 4 minutes. Miami has to not only match that effort, but exceed it, really. Continue their hot streak from 3. What really impressed me in the first half, Luke, was just how well Miami is able to capitalize off of turnovers. They only won the turnover battle by 4, but it doesn't really seem like it with how well they've been shooting. 16 points on fast breaks today for the RedHawks. Toledo only two. And then the depth as well for Miami. We've seen it all season long. Once again, in the first half, 17 bench points today for the RedHawks. Toledo, 0.
Certainly, it's a Miami team that has leaned on their depth this year, and that's been a huge part why they've been so successful. RedHawks, in addition, 9 points off turnovers, having just forced 5 turnovers in the half, so that is extremely efficient in terms of scoring the basketball. Underway here in the second half, Rockets come out with a quick set, and underneath, Simmons gets swatted, and it's out of bounds on the rebound. Back to Miami as the RedHawks get a stop 10 seconds into the half.
Toledo did have some success, a lot of open looks inside, but just not able to bring them home, and not able to bring it home on that time either.
45-30, the RedHawks lead. 20 seconds into half 2. Makai Cooper tries baseline and a 2-hand slam for Makai.
Yeah, we know he has that bounce. We've seen it earlier this season. A really, really strong response there from the Miami offense.
Guy that his teammates repeatedly joke is not actually over 6 foot like the roster might have you think. Early 3 try from the top of the key by Adams, too far to the left, and the RedHawks have the rebound. Antoine Woolfolk races, stops his feet at the right elbow, and will dish it back outside. Now Suter driving, pushing, leaning in, and getting fouled. He got swatted by Sam Lewis. But Suter will go to the line for 2 free throws. The foul goes against Sonny Wilson. Both teams did really well to limit the turnovers and limit the fouling in that first half. Just Wilson's first. And now Pete, who's 7th in the MAC at 77% from the line, clocks in the first free throw.
Well, that's a matchup you'll take every time if you're Miami. Pete Suter, 6'5", going up against Sonny Wilson, 6'1". And with how well Suter could drive the basketball inside, that's something you absolutely want.
Suter misses the second. And Toledo has the rebound. Lewis, full length of the floor, leans back for the contact and puts it in from the bottom of the baseline there. Antoine Woolfolk picks up his second foul, and that will send Sam Lewis to the free throw line. He's got 9 in the game. Defending MAC Player of the Week, picking up where he left off after the 22-point effort against James Madison in the win.
Really just the last thing you can afford right now if you're the Miami RedHawks defensively is fouling, stopping the clock, and giving Toledo the opportunity to make up this ground at the free throw line.
Lewis makes the free throw to put him in double figures. That's the 3rd and 1 Miami's allowed in the game. Kraft down the left lane, heads inside, and he gets swatted into the 5th row, out of bounds, but a technical foul is going to bring the RedHawk crowd into this a little bit as Sam Lewis will get called. And Sam Lewis has got even more words for Cam Kraft as he walked away, and Kraft's just kind of staring at him right now as the officiating crew brings Lewis back behind half court, and Kraft swishes the first free throw. And the second, and Miami's going to get possession too. And those are the things I can tell from past experiences here. They drive Todd Kowalczyk absolutely crazy. One of the closer games played a couple years ago in Travis Steele's first year was nearly lost at the buzzer by Toledo because of some chatter late. Gave up some points. Woolfolk on the left elbow extended. Spins it back up top for Ian Elmer. Elmer to the far wing for Suter. Suter, crossover dribble to the free throw line, pivoting in, back out Kraft, 4 to shoot, logo 3, misses everything, and out of bounds on the baseline.
Bit of a heat check there from Cam Kraft. This place would have exploded if that went in, and yeah, just going back to that technical foul, just so unnecessary, especially at that point down 15, just absolutely cannot have that.
50-33, the Miami lead with 18:15 to go in regulation. Lewis slings it up top for Simmons. Round for Ford. Back to the key. Between the circles finds Wilson, bolts inside, back out Ford, open 3. Wedges off the right side rim, and Ian Elmer's got the rebound.
Rockets just struggling today from 3, now 3 for 9.
Now another technical foul given out as we get a whistle as Simmons and Woolfolk were tangled up. And somebody just got teed up. I was mentioning, it was actually a couple years ago in Travis Steele's first year when Toledo was here that the Rockets were up in the game late and there was a lot of chatter going on, and Todd Kowalczyk was furious at his team, I remember back then. And now both sides have picked up a tech already, and they'll, I believe, have to go to the monitor. I'm not sure what the original whistle was for. It's the official coming over and explaining.
Double technical.
Yeah, so they'll get offsetting technicals against Lewis and Woolfolk, and for Woolfolk, that's his 3rd.
Yeah, it looked like there's a little bit of shoving going on. I guess it didn't look anything too egregious, but I guess with the way this game has gone so far, officials trying to really stop that chippiness, don't have it continue for the rest of the game.
Beg your pardon, not Lewis, which was what was originally called. It's now being announced over the PA. It would be disastrous for Toledo if it was Lewis. It's instead going against, I believe, they get Ford or Simmons?
I thought it was Simmons.
So Simmons,
It's
yeah.
still,
So Simmons will get the first and second fouls off that. Both players got assessed a double personal and a offsetting technical foul. So Woolfolk picks up, meanwhile, his 3rd and 4th. That's going to force Reese Potter back down on the floor. So that exchange ends up kind of worse for Miami than it does for Toledo. Meanwhile, RedHawks back to the offensive end. Ian Elmer with a tough turnaround shot. Wouldn't go. Rebound picked up, though, by Reese Potter, and he will clear it out to the far side. Open 3 for Makai Cooper, and he missed it. Suter flies up for the rebound, but lost it nearly out of bounds. He had to dive to save it and throw it right to the Rockets. In transition, Wilson kicks to the corner, slash in forward, lofted it up, partially blocked, got it off the floor, put back won't go, second tap back doesn't either, ball up in the air, and a foul called against the RedHawks on the tie-up.
That was very close to being a jump ball.
Yeah. Ian Elmer gets called, so that's his second foul. So Toledo will inbound, and immediately full head down into the paint goes Adams, trying to bully his way in. He missed the shot, and it's tipped out of bounds by Miami on the rebound.
I think he threw it off Potter's foot there. It's the second or third time we've seen that today.
And an offensive foul right off the inbound called against Toledo, and Todd Kowalczyk just buries his face in his hands and turns away from the court as that call comes in. And that foul's going to go against Simmons, and that's his third.
I feel like that's the only thing you could do in that situation. So many chances there for Toledo to cut into this lead, and just wasn't happening there.
It's been about 2 minutes since each team has scored. 50-33 Miami with under 17 to play. Kraft around the arc. Hands in the angle for Makai Cooper. Scoop out Suter, momentum into the paint, and Suter will fly down the right lane and throw it in. 19-point lead for the RedHawks, and Pete Suter with just his third points off his first made field goal.
And a really good job there by Reese Potter, guarding the defender to create more room.
Ford misses a wide open three. He was the only guy in the near half of the floor, and the RedHawks have the rebound. Kraft, another logo try, and that rattles off, but Ian Elmer grabs the offensive rebound. Backing in, edge of the paint. He'll shimmy inside, fake the fade from the right hash, toss it up, and it won't go, and the rebound tapped onto the floor where Sonny Wilson scoops it off the deck for Toledo. Wandering inside, Wilson cuts it across and lays it in with the left hand from the side of the paint.
And Wilson again, man, he's been so good going coast to coast, getting some much needed baskets for the Rockets.
52-35 Miami. Under 16 timeout upcoming. It's going to come right now because Makai Cooper threw it out of bounds. There really wasn't anyone over there. It was a miscommunication with Suter, who was running in the opposite direction. And we've reached a media timeout. So 15:55 to go, second half. RedHawks lead at 52-35. And you're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. 52-35. It's a 17-point Miami lead with 15:55 to go. Luke West, Poley, Bryan Miller with you. And Bryan, a little bit of a bigger lineup coming out here for Todd Kowalczyk, and the Rockets probably kicking themselves a little bit as they've forced Miami into a slump. One of their last 7 from the field that have not been able to chip into this lead since halftime.
Yeah, it's really the first sequence in this game where there's really been a drought from scoring for both teams.
Lewis cuts into the paint and draws the foul. He'll go to the line for 2. Brant Byers picks up his first foul. And so Sam Lewis is at the free throw line. Looking at some scores around the MAC. First place Akron in front by 8 on Western Michigan as Lewis makes the first free throw. So Western keeping that game close. That game was on pace to see the Zips finish over 100 at halftime. And the most shocking result so far of the night is that Bowling Green, who's really struggled this year and dealt with some injuries, they lead Ohio by 8 right now. Still early going second half like this game. 2-for-2 trip at the line, meanwhile, for Lewis. That'd be a huge win for Todd Simon and the Falcons. Again, we're picked to finish tied with the RedHawks for 6th in the MAC, and their seasons have gone opposite directions. Foul inside as the RedHawks were passing it around the front court. It'll be on the interior and go against Sonny Wilson. Really, health has been a big part of that, Bryan, because as much as Miami's dealt with some bumps and bruises, Woolfolk and Potter, namely of late, RedHawks have, knock on wood, avoided the big injury, and that's something that Bowling Green has not been able to do as well.
Anytime you're able to keep that continuity, especially with the starting lineup, same lineup besides the Eastern Michigan game, definitely helps.
Potter, left elbow, tries the drive, tough fadeaway shot, pops in and out, and a foul on the rebound drawn by the RedHawks. Thought they might get Suter on the backside, fighting with 2 Rockets for the rebound. But instead, Skaljak draws the foul against Hubbard, and that is the Rockets' 7th team foul with still 15-16 left to play, and Luke Skaljak will go to the free throw line for 1-and-1 free throws here.
It's very reminiscent, I'm pretty sure it's the Eastern Michigan game where we saw Miami get into the bonus. That was before the first media timeout,
yeah,
right at it. It's pretty similar here.
Skaljak makes the first free throw, and Toledo, differently than that Eastern Michigan game, the foul trouble's a little more spread out. For Eastern, their top 2 scores at the time in that game were at 4 fouls for Eastern, or for Toledo rather. 4 of the 5 players on the floor have 2 or more, and Javon Simmons has 3. 2 made free throws for Luke Skaljak. Makes it 54-37 Miami with 15:05 to go. Bumping inside, Simmons will draw the foul against Potter, I believe, and yes, indeed. Christian Smith's putting his arms in the air, telling him to stay straight up against him, fighting inside. But man, Simmons is very strong underneath, 6'7", with a filled-out frame. Junior out of Greater Columbus area, and Gahanna Lincoln High School hits the first free throw.
Really good positioning there from Simmons against Potter, and now both the Miami big men in trouble, or in foul trouble, so might have to go with a smaller lineup.
Simmons gets to the free throw line, the 5th most of anybody in the MAC. He's a left-handed shooter, and he misses the second free throw. Miami's frustrated him offensively tonight. He's got 7 boards, but just 3 points for a guy who normally scores 12 a game. 54-38 RedHawks, 14:53 to go in regulation. Pete Suter dribbling, waste time with his right hand. Takes 2 steps inside the arc, flips to the wing for Evan Ipsaro. Crossover, back to Suter, 8 to shoot. Suter shimmies, fakes the pull. Long pass to the near side for Elmer. 3 left on the timer. Elmer stepping in, trying to fade away. He got blocked, but that came late anyway. Elmer just lost control on his dribble for a second, and that really doomed the end of that possession for Miami. It's a shot clock violation on the RedHawks. Toledo's going to roll the ball up the floor here, and it's picked up by Sonny Wilson. He will take it across the timeline down the middle of the floor. Lewis, far wing extended, bounce pass up for Hubbard. Rounds the whole floor. Hubbard drives to the baseline. He gets blocked but fouled. And now the foul's starting to rack up on Miami's end. It's against Elmer. He gets his 3rd, and Miami's got 7 fouls. So with both teams now with 7 fouls, and they'll shoot the bonus over the final 14 minutes and 21 seconds of this game. And Seth Hubbard will take 2 shots on the shooting foul. And the Western Michigan transfer drops through the first.
Free throw shooting going to be a major factor the last 14 or so minutes. Toledo 5th in the MAC, 73% from the line. Miami right behind them, 6th in the MAC, just under 73%.
Hubbard deposits the second free throw. Now Todd Kowalczyk signaling the trap here for the Rockets. Ipsaro, though, gets double teamed but gets out of it. Elmer wide open for the right side, elects not to take the 3 and slow down. It's a 14-point game, smallest the lead's been in since the first half, and Pete Suter loses it on the drive. Lewis now diagonally into the paint, bullies through and lays it up and in, and Travis Steele wants a timeout. So things have unraveled a bit here for the RedHawks. They still lead by 12, but Toledo's got life on the road, with both teams falling into some foul trouble in the early going still of the second half. 14:02 remaining in half number 2, and it's 54-42 in favor of Miami. Back to Millett Hall after this. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. $14:02 remaining, second half. Travis Steele called his first timeout of the half, and Miami's seen their lead shrink. It sat just underneath 20 for a while, and now it's down to 12 as the Rockets have some life here on the road. Foul trouble for Miami. Woolfolk with 4, Elmer with 3, Potter with 3. For Toledo, Javen Simmons has 3, and plenty of Rockets with 2. Toledo's got 4 of them in total. Miami back to the front court. It's Potter. Left elbow find for Skaljak. Back out near midcourt. Hubbard reaches in and fouls him. As the shot clock was running down, and probably not a foul you want to take there if you're Toledo, as Hubbard picks up his 3rd, and that sends a pretty good free throw shooter in Luke Skaljak to the free throw line.
Especially with it coming that late in the shot clock, just a reach-in foul that far away from the basket. Can't be a good feeling if you're Toledo.
And again, both teams are already in the bonus, so 1-1 here, and Skaljak cashes in on the first. And he will knock through the second. So a 14-point lead now for Miami with 13:38 to go. And Skaljak's got all 4 of his points from the free throw line. Lawrenson with a left wing 3. That swirls the iron, but Burchick gets an offensive rebound.
Wow.
Gets pasted by Reese Potter.
What a play.
And then jumping out of bounds, Evan Ipsaro got to that loose ball after the block before it got out of bounds, and he threw it off Burchick's leg and out.
Just a phenomenal play there. First by Reese Potter to get that block, and then Evan Ipsaro, man. I mean, that's just what he does. Great hustle play there, throwing it off the Toledo defender, getting the ball back for Miami. What a play.
Right, seeing on the replay, they discussed it for a second, but yeah, never touched the baseline, and Ipsaro stayed up in the air while that ball was in contact with his hands, and now he'll drive, and he'll draw the foul against Burchick. And the Croatian will pick up his second and the 9th foul on Toledo, and just as fast as Miami approached the bonus, they're now approaching the double bonus as Toledo picks up a couple more quick ones, and Evan Ipsaro, who is an automatic free throw shooter, knocks in the first one.
Really good job from Ipsaro that time, just forcing the contact there with Burchick and getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, 2 for 2 for Ipsaro. 16-point lead again for Miami, 13-10 remaining. It's 58-42 RedHawks, and a foul on the inside as Hubbard began his cut to the basket. They'll get Skaljak, just his first. Miami is resting a lot of their players in some further foul trouble right now. Reese Potter, the only one with more than 1 foul. He's got 3. But now Pete Suter's going to come off the floor, and for the RedHawks, Ian Elmer will replace him. He's got 3 as well. Hubbard will now shoot the 1-and-1. And he misses the first one, and Elmer's got the rebound. And for one of the better free throw shooting teams in the MAC, now 11 of 16 on the night for Toledo, and tough to lose the front end of a 1-and-1 like that. Ipsaro down the center of the paint, kick out Skaljak, fakes the 3, heads inside, bounces Potter, big man Trey, yes! The 7-1 Reese Potter gives a little point to the student section on his way back down the floor as he hits the 3, and it's a 19-point lead once more, tied for the largest of the game for the RedHawks with 12:33 to go. 3 for the left wing for Adams, and he answers. Isaiah Adams into double figures with 11, the 3rd Rocket with 10 or more, and it's back inside 19 as Burchick commits another foul, and that'll be his 3rd as he swats on Ian Elmer.
That's their 10th.
And yep, 2 free throws coming the rest of the way for Miami as Ian Elmer will be the first RedHawk to shoot the double bonus. He's a 76% free throw shooter.
Just a great job from the RedHawk offense. They have not been great from the field, just 1 for 4 and just making 1 out of their last 6 3-point attempts, but they're just doing such a good job of forcing the issue and getting to the free throw line. It's the least you could do when you're on a little bit of a cold streak.
First free throw rattles out on Ian Elmer. For Miami, they'll bring Cam Kraft back onto the floor to take the place of Luke Skaljak. For Toledo, Sonny Wilson, Andre Lawrenson, Gerger Burchick off, Simmons, Ford, Lewis back into the game as Elmer dribbles through the second free throw. 62-45, Miami in front with 12:11 to go in regulation. Media timeout coming up soon. For now, it's Lewis from the right angle. Between the legs on his dribble, heads right. Byers switches off on him. Now back up top, it's Adams. Byers stepping up on him. 9 to shoot, and Adams steps in and draws the foul against Byers. And that will send Toledo to the free throw line for a 1-and-1 as Brant Byers collects his 2nd foul. 17 points, the Miami advantage with 11:56 to go in the second half. RedHawks trying to ride this one out when we return. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. Stay with us. 11:56 to go in the second half from Millett Hall. Probably the best midweek crowd we have seen at Millett this season as Miami continues to lead Toledo 62-45. This lead got down near a dozen or so, but Miami's brought it back up to 17. Rockets at the free throw line. Isaiah Adams for a 1-and-1. He's an 89% free throw shooter, and he will put through the first. Both teams in foul trouble. Miami with 9 team fouls, Toledo with 10. Antoine Woolfolk, the only player for either team up to 4, but plenty of guys with 3 so far. Second free throw left, short though by Adams, and Ian Elmer jumps up to get the rebound. He's one of the RedHawks with 3 fouls, but how about a monster night on the glass? He's got 12 boards.
He has really stepped up today with the foul issues with Potter and Woolfolk.
And both of Miami's main bigs have had to take extended stays on the bench with foul trouble. Kraft, meanwhile, to the right elbow, and Money from there, spotting up with the jumper.
Big time shot for Kraft there. I believe that is his first field goal make in this half. Good to see him start to get going.
Javen Simmons, meanwhile, pushes in on Reese Potter, but can't throw it over the top of the rim. And the RedHawks have the rebound. Potter now from the free throw line, steps inside, floats it up from just underneath the MAC logo, but can't score it. Offensive rebound, though, for Ian Elmer. Leans up. Mid-range jumper, no good. Fight for the rebound on the floor, and Brant Byers gets dirty to draw the jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of Miami.
Just gritty, man. What a play there for Byers, not giving up on the play and getting the ball back for the RedHawks.
Evan Ipsaro will find Reese Potter, who hands it right back to him, and Ipsaro circles the paint and tosses it up with the right hand. Little hook shot falls short. Hubbard quickly from left to right, darting into the front court for Toledo. Hubbard dishes off Simmons' left elbow and back outside. 64-46 Miami, 10:35 to go. Ford with a step back, open 3, pops out of the well, and Ian Elmer with his 14th rebound, and unpressured there, he almost double dribbled as he kind of lost his grasp on the basketball for a moment. Instead, the RedHawks still with it. Kraft around a screen. Dribbling through the paint down the right side. Draws the foul, but it just rolls off the rim on the right-handed attempt. And Seth Hubbard will get his 4th foul, and now Cam Kraft will have 2 free throws.
Seeing Kraft trying to drive in again, able to get to the free throw line. Really, really good drive there for Cam.
Kraft nails the first free throw. 65-46 Miami. They've got a chance to extend the first 20-point lead of the night. They've led since the jump. And Kraft is money for the line to make it 66-46 Miami, approaching the halfway mark of the second.
Kraft might have the fastest free throw routine I've ever seen. Just one dribble to the ground, then immediately puts it out.
Foul on the inside will go against the RedHawks, and they will get Byers, who gets his 3rd. Yeah, earlier when Kraft was shooting those technical free throws after Lewis, I believe it was, got called for the tech, Lewis wasn't even across half court yet by the time
no, he's not.
Kraft let go of the first free throw.
But it works. I mean,
yeah,
he's perfect tonight.
4 for 4 from the stripe, 6 of 11 from 3, 26 points for Cam Kraft. Adams at the free throw line. It bounces 20 times off the rim and drops in. Isaiah Adams up to 13 points. Cam Kraft, his RedHawk career high came against Bethany when he had 34 points. One of the best games of his first-year RedHawk career nonetheless, and probably the best against a Division I opponent all season. Adams makes the second free throw. And it's back down to 18 with under 10 to play. 66-48 Miami. Elmer from the right elbow spots up and bounces in the shot to restore it to 20.
Good look there for Elmer. So good at those mid-range looks, able to shoot in rhythm.
7 points for Elmer. Lewis airs out a shot from 10 feet. Short. RedHawks up ahead. Kraft, a right wing transition 3. He buries it. Cam Kraft grabs another triple. He's got 29 in the game. Pete Suter with 7 assists, as that is too shy of a career high, and Miami leads it by 23 with 9:17 to go.
Suter and Kraft just on the same page there.
Ford almost got blocked. Instead, he gives back out for Lewis, who drives in and gets fouled by Peter Suter. Suter gets his second. He's a guy that, with all this other foul trouble going on elsewhere on the floor, Miami desperately needs to keep in the game as one of their better defenders. So, important second foul picked up there. Sam Lewis goes to the free throw line and clatters in the first free throw. Toledo now 15 for 20 from the stripe. This is a Rockets team that really won't go away on you. RedHawks hoping for their first win since Todd Kowalczyk's first matchup against Miami. That was 23 matchups ago. Second free throw made. Toledo picking up pressure in full court, but Miami gets out of it as Peter Suter comes off a screen across the timeline on the right wing. Suter wants a man up top. Woolfolk heads there between the circles, gets the feed, handoff Elmer, between the legs dribble, slashes across, scoop out Kraft, open three, but an offensive foul. Kraft drilled the triple, but a moving screen was set just prior to him letting go of that shot, and Elmer will pick up his 4th foul as a result.
Man, it really wasn't needed either. I mean, you don't need to give Cam Kraft that much space right now. He had enough off of that screen. Man, just a missed opportunity there for Miami.
So 71-50, still a comfortable lead for now for Miami, but this team can score in a flash. One of the best offenses in the MAC. Adams tries a right wing three. He missed it short, but a foul was whistled while the ball was in the air, and it's on Toledo, so the shot wouldn't have counted anyway. 8:34 to go, second half. And Javen Simmons will get his 4th foul, and that is not good for Toledo, as Gerger Burchik is coming up presumably to take his spot, but Simmons, a guy who hasn't been super impactful scoring the ball today with just 3 points, but averages 12 on the year.
And he's been big defensively for them today, has 7 rebounds so far.
The last MAC game for Toledo a week ago today against Buffalo, his 5th career double-double. Reese Potter, the free throw shooter, and can't connect on the first one. Gerger Burchik does come on now for Javen Simmons. And Potter, the 7-1 sophomore, lets go of the second free throw, and nothing but net on it to make it a 22-point Miami lead. 72-50, RedHawks, 8.5 to go. Cooper providing pressure up front. Williams dribbles around it high. Arcing shot from just inside the three-point line is perfect. And Sonny Wilson with his first basket in a little while. He's got 12. Handoff Kraft. He'll try a 3 straight away and hit it. Cam Kraft just on another level tonight. He's got 32 points, and Miami in front by 23 with under 8 minutes to go.
Was a little cold to start off this half, but man, Cam Kraft is back.
Ford Euros into the MAC logo and hits the jumper. And it's a 21-point Miami lead, but an unreal night for Kraft, and a great cut, but he can't finish right under the basket on the simple up and under. He just threw it right against the underside of the rim.
Great look for him.
And underneath the basket, the RedHawks will commit a foul as Suter goes flying. We'll see if they get him for the foul call. As
they do. Yep,
that's going to be Suter's 3rd. Something to keep an eye on, but for now, still all RedHawks, 75-54. Miami leads with a 32-point night thus far for Cam Kraft. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. 7:33 left to go tonight. 7:33 remaining in the second half. It is Miami 75 and Toledo 54. Luke West, Poley, Bryan, Miller with you as the RedHawks have led since the beginning against these Rockets. Lead as much as 23. It's at 21 right now. Gerger Burchick is at the free throw line for Toledo on the right side of the floor, and he connects on the first foul shot. Toledo shot a lot of free throws, especially in this half. 15 now of their 22 attempts in the first 12 and a half minutes of half two. Burchick knocks it off the back iron, and the lead stays at 20 for Miami. As the RedHawks have the rebound, and Makai Cooper will slowly pound it on the deck and head up the floor. Suter gets the handoff up top, waving teammates inside. Finds Luke Skaljak, right elbow extended, bouncing for Potter. Now Byers on the far wing, 9 to shoot. Suter catches the pass, corner of the logo, takes the three, misses it off the front rim. Rebound though, tapped right to Skaljak, and Miami can reset. Cooper jabs and plays catch with Potter. Now will accelerate down the baseline, go up top, and threw it over the basket, didn't catch any rim. And the Rockets have the rebound. Lewis catches the feed up the right side. Acrobatic take to the basket, and he carves through the traffic in the paint to lay it in with his right hand.
That was a nice take there from Lewis, adjusting mid-air. Leads Toledo with 18 points.
75-57 Miami, 6:35 to go in the game. Luke Skaljak stumbled into the lane, got it back and threw it to the outside. Skaljak has it once more now. Right angle to the corner. Cooper cutting across the paint. Threw his head back as he tossed a shot up from the MAC logo. That rolled off the rim. No good. Rebound picked up by Wilson, who brings it up the floor, and an offensive foul as a hard screen was set there on Pete Suter, who went somersaulting out near half court. And the RedHawks will get it back. Both teams have been in the double bonus for what's felt like this whole half. It's been about 8 minutes since each team picked up their 10th foul. 75-57 Miami leads, but with the foul on the screen, the RedHawks will not get shots, and honestly, Miami might just be fine with that, getting to run some more time off the clock here.
It just seems like every time Toledo has an opportunity offensively to get back into it, they have a turnover or a foul.
And Skaljak from the left side floats up in the air and gets fouled. Bryce Ford gets his first foul. He is the second to last Rocket that's seen minutes to commit a foul. Andre Lawrenson still has not committed one yet, and Luke Skaljak has the first free throw make. 6:01 to go, second half. 76-57 Miami, second free throw pending. And good for Skaljak. It's a 20-point game once again. Only time these two teams meet this year, and Miami hoping to give Toledo their best shot. They had it here tonight. Trying to close it out over the final 6 minutes. Rockets need something, need it now. They haven't really had a big run all night, but working his way into the lane. Sonny Wilson tosses it up and in from 5 feet out.
Another strong take. Really, I mean, we've been seeing it all night with Wilson and Lewis, just keeping them from getting completely blown out, but I mean, at this point, I feel like you need to shoot more threes at some point if you're Toledo. Yeah,
Toledo's near the bottom of the MAC in terms of three-point shooting volume. These teams are polar opposites for how good both of their offenses are, but yeah, like you said, you're running out of time here if you're Toledo. Miami takes a three. Brant Byers missed it too strong from the near corner. And Bryce Ford's got the rebound and bounds forward for the Rockets. Dribbling between the legs twice, now 3 times. Cutting to the basket, spinning across the lane, kick to the far wing, wide open three for Wilson, and he nails it.
Well, that's just what they needed, right? As we're saying, they need to shoot more threes, cuts it down to 15. Big shot there for Wilson.
Almost a 40% shooter from deep this year, and it's a 77-62 game. Suter was working to the right to left side of the baseline and threw a tipped ball out of bounds as Miami will keep possession. Cam Kraft and Evan Psarro back onto the floor for Miami. Psarro's got a very quiet 11. Haven't seen him in a little while, but he's really starting to find his scoring touch. Byers and Skaljak head to the bench for a breather, and Travis Steele and the staff, it feels like, Bryan, have done a really good job managing this Miami foul trouble in this game. Is still not a huge issue yet.
Yeah, I think it helps when you have players that just really step up, play more disciplined defense. But yeah, completely agree with that assessment.
RedHawks had a couple pick up their 4th foul early in Elmer and Woolfolk. They haven't fouled out yet. Ipsaro circles the paint. 3 to shoot. Tried the jelly lay underneath. Couldn't get it off about a waist-high finger roll attempt, but the RedHawks get the offensive rebound. Elmer now a near wing 3. Pops in and out, but Ipsaro flies in for the offensive rebound.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. Looked like Superman there, get the rebounds.
A little 6-footer, Evan Ipsaro gets the offensive board. Miami's 14th offensive rebound tonight. An up and under galloping attempt for Pete Suter. Draws the foul, and he'll have 2 shots upcoming at the line as Jalen Owinga gets called for the foul.
And that's just the possession that Miami needs right now. Just getting a few offensive rebounds, able to extend the possession. Miami's doing a really good job on the offensive glass. They have a 5 rebound advantage in that category.
Pete Suter hits the first free throw. And the second. 79-62. Miami over Toledo as we approach 4 minutes to go. Ford backs it out near the logo. Accelerates to the rim, kicks out near wing. An open 3, cashed in from Sonny Wilson.
And Wilson stepping up again for the Rockets. Another big-time 3 to cut it to 14. A little surprised that Toledo's not bringing any pressure these past few possessions.
20 points for Wilson. Kraft all the way to the bucket, and 1 for Cam Kraft as he lays it in. And Kraft will have a chance for a career high on the other side of the break. He ties his season best with 34 here tonight, same he had against Bethany back in late 2024. And 1 free throw with a chance for a career best for Cam. When we come back, Miami's had the answers all night, 81-65. They lead over Toledo with 3:34 to play. You're listening to Miami Basketball on Red Hawk Radio. .334 remaining here in the second half. 81-65, Miami in front. What a night for Cam Kraft, and has a chance to make it a career high. He's tied his best with 34 points here tonight. Same as the performance he had against Bethany back on December 15th in the first half of the season. And if Kraft can make the free throw, it'll be a career high. The redshirt sophomore out of Chicago, and he's got it. 5 of 5 from the line tonight, 8 of 13 from 3. It is a 35-point game for Cam Kraft, and the RedHawks lead at 82-65 with 3:26 to go. Toledo's got to go here. Throw it to the inside. It's batted away. Wilson gets the loose ball. Kick out. Lewis open three. Swirls home. Sam Lewis hits the tray, and it's a 14-point game with 3:12 to go. And, man, it has felt like Toledo's gotten battered and bruised tonight, but the Rockets figure out a way to keep this out of blowout territory, and they've maybe got a shot if they can get a late run put together here in the final 3 minutes.
Yeah, they're really starting to heat up from three. They've made 3 out of their last 4 3-point attempts.
Kraft straightaway three off the hand. He sticks it.
Wow.
Cam Kraft with 38. He's made 9 threes, and when the RedHawks needed him most, he provides another big shot.
I mean, that's just the dynamic that he could bring to this Red Hawk team. What a performance.
Meanwhile, a hop step into the lane for Adams, and he gets an and one. And again, Toledo's got to punch back. And the foul will go against Elmer, who is the first player to foul out of the game as he gets his 5th. Brant Byers in for Miami. What a monster game for Ian Elmer. The foul trouble he's not going to love, but 7 points, 14 boards, an assist, a steal, and a block for E. And now Adams' free throw put through, so still a 14-point game with 2:38 to go. Toledo's going to pick up pressure here in the full court. Kraft catches the pass up ahead and gets through the bracket of Rocket defenders to get it across the timeline. Miami's going to run some time down. Woolfolk fakes the handoff. Works to the right hash, shouldering, edge of the paint, 12 to shoot, he'll walk it outside. Handing for Kraft, stumbling into the lane, Kraft just floats it up, it's off the heel, no good. And Ford flies in for the rebound for the Rockets. Up ahead, open three from the left wing, and Wilson knocks it down. And Todd Kowalczyk says go, go, go. He wants his guys up in the front court to try and provide some pressure. But a little bit of miscommunication there, and Miami will be able to get it across the timeline with relative ease, and Kraft is all alone under the basket to catch the pass from Ipsaro, and Kraft puts it in, and that's 40 for Cam on the night. 87-74 Miami, Ford to near wing three. That rolls off, and Byers has got the rebound, and finally, after a momentum-shifting play, Miami gets a stop, and with 93 seconds to go, that might be the nail in the coffin for this Rocket team here on the road.
Yeah, this is where you got to slow it down.
The RedHawks don't, and they give it away as they try to find a cunning Byers, but Suter turned it over, and up top, Adams, 2 hands slams it, and Todd Kowalczyk wants a timeout with 1:19 to go, and it is an 11-point game, 87-76. Again, with 1:19 left, both teams still have a couple of timeouts to work with. Just 9 turnovers for this RedHawk team, and just 8 for the Rockets, but it's felt like Miami's turned it over at a couple of key points here in the second half that have allowed Toledo to hang around. But an interesting anecdote that you brought up, Bryan, about Kraft now hitting a 40-point game. He's the second RedHawk to do it this season, and it's been a while since Miami's done that.
Yeah, it sure has. What did we say, 1957?
Yeah, 1957, and it was the great Wayne Embry that provided actually 2 of 3 40-point games in the 1957 season that Miami had.
That's wild. I mean, it just shows how just the depth of this Miami team, and just anyone could go off on any given night for these RedHawks. I have to expect Toledo to bring more pressure, though, on this possession. And the rest of this game, 1:19 left. Miami's going to have to respond to it, have to take care of the basketball.
So 1:19 remaining. 87-76 Miami, who has not trailed in this game. And Toledo will have to pick up pressure in the full court. Suter providing the inbound, bounces in for Cooper, back to Suter, pump fakes ahead, and now rolls the ball forward for Evan Ipsaro. Takes it across the timeline, works it all the way in, gets to the bucket, fouled, scores, and one for Evan Ipsaro.
Man, Ipsaro, he always plays fast, even in that kind of situation. Gets the ball, goes straight to the hoop. There was a ton of room in front of him, able to get it home with the foul. What a take.
Evan Ipsaro will shoot one. He went down hard on the floor, but He had a smile on his face the whole time. So the lead's back to 13, and Ipsaro's got the free throw. And with that make, Miami hits 90 points, which is the pace at halftime. And this is only the second time all season that Toledo has allowed 90 points. And a standing ovation for Cam Kraft, who comes off with 1:11 to go. 90-76, Miami leads, and Kraft poured in 40 of those 90 points for the RedHawks.
It's a remarkable performance.
Bumping to the basket, a miss at the bucket for Owinga, but a foul call. It'll go against Reese Potter, and he gets his fourth. And that will send Owinga to the free throw line. So yeah, again, Youngstown State, the only team that scored 90 plus against the Rockets this year. They scored 93 against Toledo on December 14th. And this is a Rockets team that's played the likes of Houston and Purdue this year. So some pretty elite company that the RedHawks have surpassed offensively against these Rockets. So Owinga connects on the first free throw. And misses the second too long, and Pete Suter's got the rebound as we're under a minute to play. Suter will carry it up the floor, and Travis Steele just wants his team to go ultra slow here. No pressure picked up by Todd Kowalczyk and the Rockets, and they're not going to foul either, so Miami can run about half this time off the clock.
It looks like Toledo waving the white flag a little bit.
Suter drives down the right alley and lays it in for the cherry on top. As Miami scores 92, Toledo will have to get one more shot up as Ford gets into the lane, leans in and scores with another and one. Rockets have had plenty of those tonight, but it has not mattered as Reese Potter will get his fifth, and Cam Kraft is going to have to come back out onto the floor. I think the Miami fans, I should say, thought he was done for the night, but Kraft will come back on for one final encore, 32.9 seconds to go. Miami leads it 92-79.
It's not often you see a player get two standing ovations, but could see it tonight with Cam Kraft.
Free throw is made by Bryce Ford, who's into double figures with 10. And the Rockets, despite getting 4 players into double digits, are going to lose this game as Miami gets it across the timeline. They will have to get a shot up or take a shot clock violation as Makai Cooper, Travis Steele is telling him wait until there's no time left on the shot clock, then throw it up to run the rest of the time on the clock. But this is going to end up as a dominant win for the Miami RedHawks. As time runs out, Cooper's just going to take the shot clock violation. And so Toledo will inbound and run the final 2 seconds down, and then they'll shake hands out at center court. Well, tomorrow it would have been 14 years for the first time in 23 meetings. The Miami RedHawks have taken down the Toledo Rockets, and this magical season continues for this RedHawk team as Cam Kraft scores 40 tonight, the second RedHawk to hit the 40-point mark this season, and Miami all over their counterparts who've won 4 straight MAC regular season titles, as Miami's own MAC regular season title aspirations remain alive and well into the final couple weeks of the season through a dominant win over one of the MAC's top teams. This is as impressive a win, Bryan, as Miami has had all season. They endured punch after punch after punch back from this Toledo team, but just kept the lead beyond double digits, never left it in doubt, and Cam Kraft with a historic night, picking up 40 points and 9 threes in the process.
Yeah, we mentioned in the beginning of this broadcast how these types of games are just so important for a rising program like Miami. If you want to win championships, you want to win the MAC tournament, you want to make the NCAA tournament, you want to make a run in the NCAA tournament, you got to win games like this. You haven't beaten Toledo in 22 straight meetings. Well, not only did they beat them, they really dominated them today, and they did it using their style with the three-point ball. 15 threes today, shooting 50% from three-point land. Just incredible performance. That is something that just, you keep going up and up and up if you're Miami. This is a big step today.
And so the RedHawks, with the win, improved to 14-4 overall, and Miami keeps on rolling here through the MAC as the RedHawks are now 9-1, or rather 10-1 in the conference, with Toledo dropping to 8-3 overall in the MAC and 15-9. Excuse me, the overall record for the Rockets. Well, it'll be a little while until we're next on the air for Miami basketball. It'll be the nationally televised game. It'll be Friday, February 21st, an 8 o'clock start for the RedHawks on CBS Sports Network against the Golden Flashes of Kent State. That's the next time we will talk to you for some Miami men's basketball. And we hope that you will tune in then. So, until then, for Bryan Miller and the rest of our Red Hawk Radio team, I'm Luke West Poley saying so long and good night. Cam Kraft scores 40. Miami wins by 12 over Toledo, 92-80 on this Tuesday night from Millett Hall. Thanks for tuning into this presentation of Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. Andrew Relvas has your postgame coming up next.
Welcome inside the Red Hawk Radio postgame show. My name is Andrew Relvas to break down everything that happened in this one. A huge victory for the Miami RedHawks. The Red Hot RedHawks, who improve to 19-5, and their winning streak also goes to 5 games in a row. What a night and what a game for the RedHawks. 92-80 is the final score, a 12-point victory for the RedHawks. How did it happen? Well, it was the Cam Kraft show from start to finish. 40 points for him, 13 for 22 from the floor, and 9 for 14 from the three-point line. Just an unreal performance. Kraft lit it up from start to finish, and he is the second player this year for Miami to score 40 points this year for the RedHawks. It was him and then Suter earlier this season versus Air Force, where I believe he scored 42. So really good stuff, and honestly, Miami has one of the top duos, not only in the MAC, but in the mid-majors. The guards, Kraft and Suter, either one can go off for 40 points, and we saw it here tonight against a tough Toledo team. Evan Apsara was the number 2 scorer, 14 points, 5 and 5 for him. He made a lot of nice plays, a lot of gritty plays, especially grabbing some more offensive boards. And the RedHawks overall shot 45% from the floor, 50% from deep, 15 for 30. They made 15 three-pointers. You're going to win every game that you shoot like that, and they shot 19 for 23 from the free throw line. And they won the rebounding battle 45-33 over Toledo. Meanwhile, for the Rockets, 23 points from Sonny Wilson, 9 for 11 from the floor, 3 rebounds and 5 assists. Good numbers from him. 19 points from Adams, along with 4 rebounds and 1 steal. Then Sam Lewis, 21 points, a really strong performance, the MAC Player of the Week last week. And then Bryce Ford, 10 points for him. The Rockets shot 43%, 42% from deep, and 74% from the free throw line, making 20 out of 27 free throw tries. With that, the RedHawks will improve to 19-5 overall. They stay pacing with the Akron Zips, improving their MAC record to 10-1. And meanwhile, Akron 11-0 after beating Western Michigan later tonight. The next time the RedHawks will be playing, it'll be on the road in Kalamazoo against the Western Michigan Broncos, who recently faced the Toledo Rockets earlier today. That'll be a 2:30 start on the western side of Michigan. Should be a good one for the RedHawks on the road, a nice little road test. And for the Toledo Rockets, they've got Deshaun Nelson and the Eastern Michigan Eagles. 3:30 at Ypsilanti. Should be a fun one for some 2 road teams coming up. And for Toledo, their record falls to 15-9 and 8-3 in the Mid-American Conference, and they will stay in 3rd. Thanks so much for tuning in on a big-time victory for the RedHawks, who put up 47 second-half points and taking down a really good offense in the Toledo Rockets here at home. Miami wins by 12, and we will see you next for the Friday game versus Kent State on CBS Sports Network. Should be a fun one, and we will catch you then. Thanks so much for tuning in. A 12-point huge victory for the RedHawks, who keep pacing in the MAC. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Andrew Relvas. This was a presentation of Miami men's basketball on Red Hawk Radio, and we hope you have a great rest of your night.